Hello, my name is Amos Gutierrez and I'm going to be demonstrating how to colorize a black and white photo in Photoshop. Okay, so we are going to be colorizing a black and white photo. We will add some color to this so it looked like it was taken in color. So we're going to start out by duplicating our background layer and let's click OK. Alright, so how we're going to do this, the method we're going to be using is going to be using an adjustment layer, hue and saturation, but then we're going to colorize each of our layers that we're going to add color to. So we're going to start out by adding an adjustment layer, and I'm going to start by inverting this here, that layer, so that I can select what I want to colorize. So what we're going to do first is we're going to make our selection of what to colorize. And to make this a little bit easier, we're going to be using the quick selection tool. And then from inside, we're just going to select all of the puzzle. And there we go. That's pretty good selection. So what I want to do now is I want this part of the selection to be a different color. So I'm going to go ahead and edit, fill, and I'm going to fill with white. So now this portion is going to be affected by the adjustment layer because that's the portion that is in white. So what we'll do now, with the adjustment layer selected, we're going to, in our properties box here, we're going to select colorize. And now whatever color we want, we can move our slider across here, increase the saturation of it. I'm going to make it more of a red. So let's go ahead and see, that looks good. All right, so that is our first layer that we're doing, our first adjustment layer. So in order to, let's say we want to make some of these puzzle pieces a different color. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new adjustment layer. So let's go to adjustments, hue and saturation. And just like we did earlier, we're going to make sure that this is selected, and I'm going to command I to invert it. And now we're going to use the quick selection tool to invert, or I'm sorry, to select the, let's go with the middle row. I did a little too much. So if it selects too much, you can always use Option, and you'll see it has a minus sign there. So you can go and subtract what you would like. I'm going to decrease the size of the little brush here using my open bracket shortcut. And you see I'm just trying to fine tune this a little bit. I'm not going to worry about it being perfect for this, but Here we go. So I want this section right here to be, let's say, blue. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this with white so that it will be affected by our adjustment layer. Make sure that the adjustment is selected and not the mask. And we're going to colorize this. And let's go with the blue. Let's increase the saturation some. Let's see where we like it. That looks good right there. Okay, I'll just deselect that. So now that's looking pretty good. If you notice in some of these areas it wasn't perfect, something you can do, go into your mask. You can zoom in onto those areas and use your brush tool, and we'll paint with black in order to remove those sections, or white. You want to make sure you have a hard brush. White if you want to colorize that. So I've got a few sections here. Go with black there. I'm not worried about it being perfect right now, but that's close enough. So I'm going to zoom back out. And now I'm going to create one more adjustment layer. Create one more adjustment layer. And we're going to colorize the wood in the back. So this time I'm actually going to leave the mask white, and in order I'm going to quick select all of the puzzle again. And this time I will fill this with black so that everything on the outside will be colorized. So now with that adjustment layer selected, we'll choose colorize, and then we want to get this somewhat of a brown, so you can kind of adjust it wherever you like. Give it a little bit more red. It'll look more like cedar, but I think that's pine there. So we'll give it a little bit more yellowish brown. Just wherever you like it. Darken that up a little bit. And there we go. So we've used adjustment layers, hue and saturation, in order to colorize black and white images.